and welcome everyone to AARP Wyoming's Video Voter Guide series for 2024. I'm Tom Laycock with AARP Wyoming, and today we're joined by Chris Dresang, who is running for the Wyoming Legislature in House District 35 on Casper's East Side. AARP has a proud 40-year history of nonpartisan voter engagement. It does not endorse or oppose candidates, nor does AARP make political contributions to candidates at any level. Instead, we ask questions so our AARP members understand where the candidates stand on important issues and can make their own decisions on Election Day. Today, we'll ask Mr. Dresang 3 questions, allowing for a 1 minute and 30-second response to each. Then we'll give him 2 minutes to make his final pitch to the voters of House District 35. So our first question today: over the last 2 years, the Wyoming Legislature has made providing property tax relief for its citizens a priority. In your view, what is the most effective way to provide relief while balancing revenue needs for our schools, counties, and other entities that rely on property tax to maintain sustainable funding?
Thanks, Tom. And I appreciate being here and having an opportunity to talk to everyone who's making a decision about voting. I am not going to solve the property tax issue in this call. And if I could, I would write a book and we'd all be super happy. So instead, I'll let you know that it is not my strongest area. I am an English teacher by trade and then a school administrator. I learned skills over the year. I'll tell you that I have a strong interest in lowering property taxes as far as possible while keeping all the funding that we have for education. And classically, wouldn't it be great if we could have our cake and eat it too? Some things that are interesting to me is, especially as I look and try to find out more about it and learn about it, is property tax deferral for people that are qualify, especially those of a certain age. I don't think it's right that you can own your house and the government can come in and take everything from you because you didn't pay some property taxes. And so looking into that, that would be a real goal of mine, as well as looking into the land value tax more so than assessed value. That one we have to be careful because you can accrue a lot of taxes for just owning land. And I think in Wyoming, we have a lot of land, but I think we could have a balanced approach more so than just having a 9.5% assessed fee. So lower fees, lower taxes, and a different approach.
Our second question for today: Wyoming's population of those aged 60 and over grew 47% from 2010 to 2020, while the state's entire population grew just 2%. We know 64% of all nursing home beds in Wyoming are paid for right now by the state Medicaid program. What do you see as the greatest barrier to helping our older adults age in their homes and communities, and what solution would you provide?
Thanks, Tom. I worked as a CNA through college and worked at a long-term care facility in Laramie. And I can tell you that I've witnessed firsthand the financial strain and the lack of facilities that we have in Wyoming, our geographical location, and how far we live apart from each other makes it difficult. And so when you have that aging family member, you have to make difficult decisions about how to pay for it and then where they go. So one of the things that I've always been a fan of, especially from working again as that certified nursing assistant, is I think we need to take some time and look at tax credits and deductions for families that have their elderly in-laws or family members stay with them. I think that we should spend some time expanding those home-based services and doing what we can to incentivize families to not necessarily relocate their aging family members and provide more training and support for that to take place in the home. I think that spending some time looking at how we work on telehealth and the monitoring systems we have in the state would be incredibly beneficial as well, and deregulating and delicensing those aspects that allow us to be a little bit more proactive rather than waiting for a crisis or catastrophic event.
Our third question today: emergency medical services are not considered an essential service in Wyoming, and in some areas, ambulance services do not have a sustainable funding source. Over the last 10 years, Wyoming has seen 16 emergency medical service providers in the state fold or consolidate with another service. What solutions would you provide for ensuring access to ambulance services?
Thank you, Tom. So to ensure ambulance services is another difficult one. I don't want to place that burden on the state. I think that it's easy to say that the state should have to pick that up. I'm more interested in fee for service models. So working with local municipalities and areas to ensure that there's access and explore better public and private relationships for that, whether that's leveraging resources, providing more opportunities and growth to the already established entities in our rural systems. I think it's incredibly important. I don't like to see that the larger cities are the only places to go. And I think that that's a huge detriment to not only our aging population, but also inviting young workers and families to come to our state who, who wants to have a child when you know that the closest medical care is 2 hours away. So I think we need to spend a lot of time working on that public-private partnership, but we need to be very careful and provide some form of oversight. My own father-in-law had some predatory practices when he was in the hospital, where you've got to be careful that you're not getting a $30,000 ambulance ride or $30,000 life flight ride just because that's the only available service. So I think it's going to be a balanced approach, but it is a priority of mine just in general, and making sure we're not a medical desert.
Well, thank you for taking the time to answer our questions today. Mr. Dresang, let's give you 2 minutes to tell the voters of House District 35 why you're the man for the job.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate 2 minutes. I probably need a lot more. So I have served Natrona County for many years. I've sat on many boards, both successful and unsuccessful. And what I mean by that is I sat on the Restorative Justice Board, and that's not a thing anymore. But I currently sit on the Wyoming Soccer Association Board. I sit on some helpful ones like Water Ski Club. Part of my job is I sit on the Juvenile Justice Board, and then I work with a lot of different entities here in Casper. I was born and raised here, so I've been a Wyomingite my entire life. I believe that we don't have the best representation right now for our district. I think that when we start talking property taxes, when we start talking safety, when we start talking education and funding, I'm not seeing the right direction as far as bills and legislation. So far, the current incumbent has yet to author and pass a single bill. And he's been a co-sponsor, which is fine. But I think that we need some more collaborative and forward-thinking minds in the legislature that will help to support the other legislators that are working to make Natrona County one of the best counties in the state. Some specifics are, as we look at the safety of our community, Natrona County has had a rough month and a half. And I think we need to spend some time looking at how we work our mental health for our teens. We need to make our community much more incentivized for young families to move here and find housing. Right now, as I go to hire teachers and help my colleagues hire teachers, there's not much out there. There is for rentals. So providing tax incentives for private places to build and easing restrictions there would be great. And I think ultimately my goal is to make it a much more civil discourse and collaborative one that will put Wyoming citizens first.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, and thank you to our viewers for this video voter guide. We encourage you to keep checking the Cowboy State Daily and AARP Wyoming's Facebook page for more video voters guides in the days to come.